The following program contains language and situations of an adult nature. Some material may not be appropriate for young viewers.
Bro, you got any last words for your opponent?
Yeah, man, que en paz descanse, Jesucristo me lo bendiga. A la verga, this is my hood, bro. I'm here to fucking rap. Here to catch a body, then go slam some fucking bodies. You feel me?
Are you ready?
Rest in peace, my nigga, because you finna die, bro. I'm coming here to catch a body. That's what I'm here for. Not fucking with me. Nobody fucking with me. Know what it is, man. Kane on this bitch, man. Fuck with your boy.
I should take the pump and dump on this dummy, split him in half and make a mess out of this junkie. Like Chris Rock, my nigga, you will get smacked at will by the Smith.
So we can rippity rap or just trash all that, cause we can rhyme some words or go scrap out back. This real rap.
Ladies and gentlemen, party people in the place to be, it's your boy Mazi. My voice cracked.
My voice cracks.
You all right there, man? You tired? I don't know. There's no excuse. I think it just cracked. That's why the water's here, people.
I put this on everything.
Party people,
I love
it's your boy
my
Mazi.
my clothes. I thought I told you this is my world, baby.
So, of course, we got my guy, Skrills, in the cut.
Come on, man.
Skrills.
South side.
Southeast. You know what I mean?
You know.
To be exact, South side, Southeast, what up? Northeast side, what up? And to my right, our brethren out north 35.
Hey.
Traveled south 35. I guess, right?
35 corridor.
DF Dub in the building.
Sir.
Gatekeeper Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
Damn.
Oh, that's what we doing?
Oh, he about to throw back out, you know what I mean? Yeah. Look, he about to throw back.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all didn't know?
Oh, shit.
Y'all didn't know?
Do your homework, people.
I forgot about that.
See, that's crazy. When you know you've done so much and you just forget what you've done.
That's a life worth living, dog.
Yeah, that's 10 years old already, dog.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Smoothvega is in the building.
What up, man? Yo, I'm so happy to be here, dog.
Man, thank you for coming.
You know, I told you I made the 4-hour drive. I would have made the drive if I didn't think it was worth it. I, honest to God, think that you guys have an amazing thing going on here with Mazi's World. You know, obviously, congratulations with the stuff you got going on.
Appreciate you, man.
But man, I say it all the time. Anytime anybody asks me, like, yo, when it comes to like shows in Texas and production and just what you guys are doing in regards to the quality of the show,
Yeah.
from the interview to the actual visual, like, man, you guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I actually think that you guys have the best show outside of mine.
For sure.
No, but real talk, because like I pride myself so much on production, and I feel like production and the quality of your presentation, like I feel it matters. You know what I mean?
For
so,
sure.
Like, you guys are doing a great job. So, you know, props to you guys, and I can't wait to just continue to see it grow.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Man.
Thank you, man. We definitely appreciate that. Funny enough, man, I came across your show before we started ours, and I ain't gonna front. I took a lot of notes.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, man.
For sure, man, because just the type of, the quality of guests you've have currently, and then the production, obviously, man. That was one thing.
Man, look, as much as I want to sound cool and take all the credit and everything, I got to give, credit to the production team, right? Which is First Time Media, Kyle, my boy Mulek. To be honest with you, it was kind of his idea because I had jumped into podcasting.
Okay.
You know, like I had wanted to do it. It's a long story. There's a whole backstory to it. But whenever I actually got into doing podcasting, I had been doing audio for about 8-9 months, and it was cool, but it wasn't really like growing. And I had guests. Like I had some really good guests, but I was doing phoners.
Gotcha.
And he just messaged me one day, and he had always had like great music video quality. And he's like, hey man, have you ever thought about, bringing your podcast and doing videos with it? Like, like the way Joe Rogan does it and all that shit. I'm
right.
like, absolutely not. I don't want to be on camera. And he convinced me to do it. And at first he wanted to do like a picture-in-picture. And then I happened to have Genuine in town, I think, for a show. I don't fucking remember exactly how it went down, but we had him in town for a show, and he happened to stay an extra day. I was like, you know, that idea you had about podcasting, you know, like how you want to go in and film one? And we did one, and I think after we did the first one, I was like, holy fuck, this shit is dope as fuck. like it's different whenever you're in person, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I'm gonna do it again, and then next week I brought somebody back, and then I just got addicted to it. So had they not seen like, you know, the vision of like, yo, I think you have all the makings of a great show. He was talking about me as a personality. Probably wouldn't have done it, but yeah, man, I appreciate that though, for real. Like, cause I do believe that as well. Like, I pride so much myself on production, and you guys know, I mean, like, as much as like it's not music, like you still look at other shows and other podcasts, and you're like, yo, he ain't fucking with me. He ain't fucking with my shit. You know what I mean? Like, so, and that's not to take anything away from anybody else, but it speaks to how much time you put into your work.
For sure. Most definitely.
Absolutely, man, for sure. And did you not see that early on, how your promoter skills like were almost tailor-made for a podcast setting?
Right.
You know, I think I talked to you guys before, right? And I promise you, I don't want this whole show to be name dropping, right?
No, go ahead. Let's get the drop ready. I'm go ahead.
You might as well get a sound effect on cue, because I don't name dropping the whole thing.
We got it.
Come on.
Ding, ding, ding.
We got it.
It all started.
There we go.
I had brought Maul out to do a master class. At the time, Maul was still part of the Joe Budden podcast.
Right.
Originally, my man Corey, who was acting as Joe's manager at one point, he's not no more. He's still part of the team. He was actually trying to get me to do a master class with Rory for live events. And we couldn't get him to commit, you know. So he's like, well, what if we get Maul? I was like, all right, cool. You know, I wasn't really a podcast fanatic at the time. I wasn't really listening to shows like that. And we had a successful, you know, we did 2 events, you know, like an early class and an afternoon class. We sold them out. We did really good. And then I had went out to eat to Papados after the event or whatever. And I remember me and Maul were talking, and, you know, we didn't know each other prior to that. So like, this is really our first time really like hanging with each other. And I was expressing to him that I had wanted to get into podcasting, because I had been wanting to get into like the media side, whether it was like, you know, producing a show, or I think that was initially what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to produce a show. Yeah. I didn't want to be the personality. And then he was the one that was like, yo, man, you should really just do it. You have too many connections and resources. And I think that was the first time it just clicked. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And I did it, bro. But to answer the question, yeah, I pretty much knew if I got into it that I was going to be able to lean on a lot of the relationships that I had created. I don't think people understood or realized that I had a skill in terms of being communicative, because just because you have relationships and resources doesn't mean you're good on the mic.
Right.
You still got to be like willing to have a conversation.
For sure. Absolutely.
We know that firsthand.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely.
Because there's some dry ass guests that you have to carry the interview. There's nothing wrong with that. So like, if you're an aspiring interviewer out there, just know like sometimes your job calls for you to carry the interview.
For sure.
Shout out to my man Mazi. he wears.
Yeah.
There's times where he wears 2-3 on the show. There's times where he wears 4-5 on the show.
Yo, man, relax.
He put a 60 on the board.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, Timmy D in his prime.
Listen, man. I prefer Kobe, but it's all good. No.
Oh, if you didn't know, this is a huge Laker fan, by the way.
Me too, bro. Kobe was actually my, you know, I stopped watching the NBA whenever he retired. So
really?
Yeah, I was a diehard basketball fan. Like, I became a big basketball fan. Shaquille O'Neal was the reason I started watching basketball.
Okay.
And so Shaq and Penny were like everything to me growing up.
Talk about it.
Come on, man.
And then Kobe came along.
Yeah.
And then the rest is history. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Laker fan to the death.
I'm not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm a Lakers fan. I still feel some type of way when I see the gear, but it just hasn't been the same for me.
It ain't the same.
Ever since he retired and LeBron and all that, like it's you know, I don't want to get into sports. R.I.P. Kobe. That's all.
Yes, rest in peace, Kobe, man, for sure. So I guess that was kind of a big introduction, but I mean, who is Smoothvega to the people? For the people who may not know.
Nah, you got it.
Got it, man.
For the people that don't know, I think it's hard for me to really kind of like narrow it down, like I would say that
Because I mean, real quick before you get into it, like you Skrill said earlier, you're a man in many hats.
Yeah.
But if, in this case, you own a lid store. If you ask me, there's a lot of hats in there. you do a lot.
No, I'm gonna actually change my bio to that right now. Like, I own a lid store.
Lid store owner.
Lid store owner, man, for sure.
What hat you want?
Yeah.
You know what? But I never wanted to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. You know, so it was always one of those things where, like, when people ask me, like, "What do you do?" I'm like, I kind of do everything, but my ultimate goal is to be a music executive, right? So, like, if I can sum it up to people, I'm like, I'm an executive, I guess, right? Because I do wear the hat of the manager on the artist side, you know?
Yes.
I still create music. I still act as a producer. I can still act as a songwriter, but ultimately, like, I am a promoter. I am a talent buyer. I am a media personality per technicality, right? I also act as an agent and, you know, like, in terms of brokering deals for talent. So, you know, I'll work with national artists and I'll, like, broker deals on their behalf, like the event coming up on May 21st.
Oh, perfect segue.
Bro, you know what I mean? Brought to you by Davies ENT. Shout out to them guys.
Shout out to Davies. They know the vibes.
Shout out to Question. You know, I was able to facilitate Paul Wall to be at the event. So that's one of many things that I do. But also, you know, people don't know that I do graphic design and I do web design. And, you know, I've done that 15 plus years. You know, like, I've really, like, had a hand in people's presentations, and just like you said, I own a lid store, so pick your poison. But I mean, I guess entrepreneur is what I would tell people. Like, I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm happy to be in the music industry. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of what I do, though, and anything that I try to advise people is, like, you know, in terms of, like, just skill sets. Whenever you develop skill sets, like, as long as you know the process to get to the end result, you could always kind of apply that process to any skill set that you have. You know what I mean? So I've been able to, like, really apply a lot of that shit to, like, other things that I do. Like, the shit that I learned from being an artist, I was able to, like, apply it to the promoting thing without even realizing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you kind of know, like, you know, I'm sure you come from the producer world, and I mean, were you ever an actual artist? Like, were you a rapper at one point?
So I rapped on one song on a mixtape, and that's when I realized I don't need to be a rapper anymore. That was almost one and done that day.
You've been around enough rappers,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So you know, like, how easy it is for rappers to be mismanaged in regards to not just, like,
absolutely
not management, but even like an interview, for example, like, so, or you know, this type of setting. So you treat it different because you're like, I want you guys to have the shit that I didn't have coming up.
Right.
So that's kind of my approach.
Regarding all the hats that you wear, I mean, did you initially find the need to wear more hats, or did you originally set out to, like, be self-sufficient as much as possible?
Damn, that's a really good question. A little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? Like, I play around a lot. Like, anybody that really gets to know me, like, they'll know that I'm actually a funny guy. Like, they see me wear the shades. They see me, like, kind of serious. I look like a fucking cholo, you know? I look like a cholo. No, bro, believe it or not, like, I think that, you know, I'll kid around. I'll tell people I'm the GOAT, I'm the best and the greatest. But truth is, like, that has always been the goal.
Sure.
If all else, you know, back at home where I'm from, it's always been the goal to set the standard and also exceed whatever expectations not only were set on me, but really what kind of been set on the scene, you know, like or where we're from at least. You know, like, I didn't want to have a ceiling. So it always was like a goal of mine to exceed.
Yes.
But I think what I noticed pretty quick was that there was no infrastructure where I'm from, which in most scenes there's no infrastructures.
There definitely isn't one. I'll tell you that, because it's the Wild West out here. But go ahead.
I mean, you know, we'll touch on that in a few. But I'll say where I'm from, it was like I wasn't afforded the opportunities that I felt that I deserved. Gotcha. Even whenever I was building a name for myself, because, you know, he mentioned the Hall of Fame. I was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in Fort Worth. You know, I did win awards as a rapper, 2006, 2007, 2015. Even if it was just on a small scale, it was still an award.
Yeah.
Most people don't even get a chance to fucking get that, right?
Right, or even be recognized at all.
Yeah, you know, I was on the cover of the newspapers. I was building a name, and I was able to reproduce talent, which to me is always the mark of a true great, like someone that could reproduce talent. But I felt the necessity to kind of go, like, shit, no one's doing this for me. I got to do it for myself. I got to learn. And some of the things I was just passionate about because it was kind of like, man, you know what? Like, I want to experiment. And then I started realizing, like, man, I'm kind of a creative cat. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I mean, I guess to answer the question, it was a little bit of both. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
that definitely the necessity was there.
Gotcha.
The necessity was there. And budgeting, you know, I didn't have the most money coming into the game. So it wasn't like I just had the money to spend.
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to, you know, you being an artist first originally.
Yeah. Bars.
I was gonna say to tell us about that journey and
the lyrical miracle philosophy apostrophes. Nah, you know what? That journey was interesting because I came in very young. You know, I always tell people the story that whenever I was 13 years old, I was getting in trouble in middle school to the point where they were like, "You're bad. We're about to expel you. You have the most infractions in the school."
Yikes.
Yeah, I was just really, really problematic in the sense that like I just always talked back. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like authority. And maybe at the time I was crying for my parents' attention. I just didn't realize it. But at the time, that's what the fuck was going on.
Gotcha.
And I just happened to have somebody that a friend of mine got, you know, I was writing songs over the summer. She got one of my songs, gave it to the security guard. The security guard goes, "Well, you know, if I can keep him out of trouble for X amount of weeks, 6 weeks, can I take him to the recording studio?" And so she took me to the recording studio because I acted right.
Yeah.
In those 6 weeks. And then I just got exposed to a recording studio at 13. So that's where the journey began.
Yeah.
And I say that because I didn't start recording officially till I was 15. Now, mind you, this is now 22 years ago. I'm 15, bro. I'm self-taught. You know, I wasn't naturally skilled at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was emulating everything I was watching at the time, which at the time, No Limit was the thing.
Wow.
So I was trying to emulate whatever No Limit was doing. I wasn't trying to rap like Master P. I wasn't like, but I was definitely like taking bits and pieces of like, they had an artist by the name of Cain and Abel.
Shout out to Cain and Abel, yeah.
2 Puerto Rican cats, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Man, listen. You talking about No Limit CD releases every week.
And they had different colors, dog. They had different colors.
I remember.
Bro, I had all of them. I had fucking the red one, Skullduggery, Big Ass, fucking, you know, I had all this, you know what I'm saying? Silk the Shocker, See Murder, Mia X, Mercedes. Like, I remember all those albums.
Yeah.
But for me, whenever I was just like getting in, I was like, I wasn't naturally talented. I wasn't naturally skilled. It took a very long time for me to really understand how to create music. I think the first person that really showed me was probably about 5 years into my journey. Because when I started being exposed to other talents across Texas, you know, like obviously I was, you know, MySpace became a thing like in 2004, 2005. So you start seeing the other talent coming up throughout the region. You start realizing like, you start questioning your talent. Like, damn, I'm not as advanced as I think I am, or as good as these other guys. I'm not saying that, but I'm feeling it. You know what I mean? Like I'm seeing my guys locally, like, damn, these guys they're fucking way ahead of me. You know what I mean? And so I had heard one of my boy Cynical 3000 actually, and Cynical was the first cat that I heard that was just like, oh yeah, I'm not nowhere near where this guy's at. And so I ended up connecting with the engineer that was engineering his music. His name is Milad Nazari. And Milad, when I got a chance to start working with him, he really taught me how to mix a record. Like, he was the first guy that was like, you know, we would bring out the tracks and we would track out all the stems and everything. Like, at that time, I had never seen that. I was just doing 2 tracks, you know, just doing vocals over that. So, like, the journey really, to me, didn't start till then. And that's whenever I really started learning how to make music. But even then, bro, I was 20, 21, 22. I didn't really know how to use my voice.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm in, you know, 2006, 2007, like, I'm a damn good promoter at this point. Just like naturally, I'm a good promoter.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all these people to fucking be exposed to my music, and the music wasn't ready yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like they were hearing premature product. A lot of people probably didn't give me a second chance because I wasn't where I needed to be. But I started making music with names like, I did records with Royce the 5'9" in 2006, 2007, Crooked Eye, King Crooked, Chino XL. Like, I was working with these guys pretty early on in my development because I met these guys through different people. And, you know, like, so there was like kind of like this idea, like, what the fuck does this guy from Fort Worth have all these artists on his shit? And it wasn't all based off of paid features. It was like I was really making a name. I just didn't feel like I was ever to the point where I was like skilled.
Gotcha.
To justify some of the looks early on. But anyways, I say that to say that as time progressed, I got good. And as time progressed, I learned how to make music. And as time progressed, like, I actually have some really good fucking music. Like, and even now, like, I'm very confident in the ability to create music. But I feel like for me, I got to the point where everything that I started doing on the promoter side, everything I started doing outside of that superseded it to the point where it's like, you know, there's just certain artists and certain people that just become more than the music.
Yeah.
Like, nobody gives a fuck if Diddy drops an album today. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that I'm anything like him.
Sure.
But that's just the reality of it. I've said it before. I'm like, man, even if I drop the coldest album of all time with the dopest producers and the dopest artists, no one's going to treat me like a rapper. And I'm fine with that. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, it took a while to, like, truly understand it. But I was like, fuck, man. You know.
Right.
You know, we always want to be that. But, you know, maybe I'm not as suited to be the ball player as I am the head coach.
And that's crazy because I was actually just about to get into that. So when it comes to you, you know, the promoter side of you kind of outshining your artistry, if you will, like what was that moment like for you? Because it seemed like it, like you said, when it comes to all of us being artist skrills, you as well. I'm sure when you was and your rapping thing, me as a producer, we always want to be the best and be number one.
Yeah.
But when you realize, you know, the other talents that you may have, what you really want to do, your passion, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, wow, like this is happening, you know?
You got to play the hot hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you de-emphasize your weaknesses, you emphasize your strengths. The cool thing about the rap thing for me, though, was I did experience moments where, at very least, I could claim number one. You know, whether it was locally, like being the number one MySpace streamed artist or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Whether it was the first artist to, like, headline his own self-promoted show, whether it was winning the awards as the best artist, or being the first Mexican artist from where I'm from to be on the cover of the local newspapers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got a chance to experience what it was to be that.
Yeah.
But I also know from now being around so many artists what, like, an organic reach looks like and what, like, a true fan base looks like. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, I had some really cool moments where people were, like, starstruck by me or whatever the fuck you want to say, right?
Yeah.
But, like, what it looks like when it's growing at a rapid pace, like a really, really rapid pace. I think with the promoter thing, like, I go back way to when I was a kid. I realized that was different in regards to promoting. But when I started promoting on the internet, I was doing it at a time where, like, social media wasn't social media yet.
Right.
So I was doing social media marketing before it was social media marketing. I was going on website forums and, you know, dating sites. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, like, I would go, like, on Yahoo chat and AOL chat and website forums. Like,
you was promoting on AIM on AOL Instant Messenger. Yes, I was like,
I was the little running man.
Yeah, man.
Yo, don't tell me you were dropping the, what is it, ASL?
But listen, before I put this invite, ASL.
Dog, it's so funny you say that because I remember, like, the first time somebody asked me, like, what the fuck are they asking?
Me too, bro. I was young and I got
ASL.
that. What the fuck is that?
Asshole? I don't know what you're asking.
Bro, real rap, I thought it was the Mexican class in high school. You know how, like,
the ESL.
Yes.
That's hilarious. Bro, but I was getting on these website forums and all these boards, and I had a website that had, like, a bunch of, like, you could upload photos on there.
Yeah, so photo bucket.
Yes, my shit had the capability to upload the photo to my site.
Gotcha.
So my site was acting as a photo bucket, and I was able to generate a lot of traffic. I realized early on I was doing things that nobody else had been doing around where I was from, and really throughout the state. People were like, what the fuck, how's he doing it? And I realized that I just had a knack for promoting because I was focusing more on direct promotion versus mass promotion. Like,
gotcha.
Think about it, it's like throwing a Hail Mary, right? Like, you know, oh, let me just throw a Hail Mary, that's mass promotion, versus direct promotion is like, you're my target, I'm going to target you, throw you the ball, then throw you the ball, then throw you the ball. I was doing that all day because I didn't have nothing else to do.
Right.
But the moment that I realized, like, everything changed was when I did my first self-promoted event. And then when I did that, and I saw the money that came in from it, and then I saw the money that came in from the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, I was like,
get paid, young nigga, get paid. Get paid, young nigga, get paid. Go get the money.
Like, I just spent the last few weeks or the last few months going city to city backpacking my album. Because, you know, I told you guys off the record, like, I would go to Petite Flea Market. I would come to San Antonio for the weekend and hustle CDs, man. Like I would go to Amarillo or Austin or wherever. I didn't do it as hard as some of the other guys that I knew, but I did it. You know what I'm saying? And I would go to Military Road and South Park Mall and fucking get kicked out for selling CDs in the mall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's cool because I'll see stories even now on TikTok. Like, I remember that guy. He sold me a CD at South Park once. That's what I told you. But I knew how hard I had to like hustle because you got to remember, like I would sell CDs for $10, but I mean, I would take 5 if somebody was like, "Yo, all I got is 5." I would like, "Fuck you, give me 5."
Yeah.
Even though the album was fully pressed and all that shit, like shrink wrapped and professional artwork, I would go. If I was lucky, I would leave the weekend with maybe $400 or $500. You know, after my food and after my hotel. And honestly, man, like when I started doing events, I'm like, I just did this in one night. It trumped what I made in weeks of that. And that's when I was like, yo, like maybe I need to start. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, I was 22 too though, so I was very like.
You got started early.
For sure.
I was fucking arrogant when it first started happening.
I believe it, because I would have been too.
I was feeling myself. I was like, yo, like ain't nobody doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you mentioned a little while ago you understood needing to pivot, right? But there's a difference between understanding and accepting, right?
Yeah.
How did you handle that? Like, did you accept the fact that, like, yo, maybe I'm not turned out, you know, I shouldn't be an artist?
I don't think I truly accepted that until probably a few years back. Because what it was that I think 2009, 2010, you know, there was a lot of people in my area. You know, people don't realize that, you know, Snow the Product lived in Fort Worth in that time frame. You know what I mean? Like, so seeing her come into the scene and her ascend and seeing other artists as well that were very, very well known locally, like you start seeing them like kind of grow and you're like, what up, man? This is a little different now. You know what I mean? Like, and the artists were only getting better and more advanced and more self-sufficient. But there wasn't an artist that I didn't meet in that time frame that didn't express some form of interest in me helping them out or getting involved with their situation or even potentially managing some of these artists. For me, I had been asked to start managing artists as far back as 2008, 2009. You know, like that. And that happened pretty early on, and I was offended when people would ask me. Because I'm like, the fuck are you implying? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if y'all watch wrestling, but it was like, I felt like Mark Henry in the retirement angle, and he's like, I still got a lot left in the tank. That's what I felt like. But it took me so long to truly understand and comprehend that it was a sign of respect. They respected the way that I handled my business. They respected that how I made a lot of what I made happen. They just wanted me to be able to do the same for them, but I didn't accept it. And then I had an artist that I took on in 2009 who goes by Louis the Singer now, but at the time he was going by Louis Vuitton. And it was so funny because him and AJ Hearns had a very similar trajectory at the time. And they were both kind of doing the same thing. When Snapback Swag was going on over here, we had something going on over there, and they were very parallel. And at the time, I think Scott Maloof was behind AJ, and I've never met Scott, so I can't speak for Scott, but I was seeing from afar the things he was doing for AJ, because he had been, a lot of people don't realize, like AJ was on tour with fucking Drake, and he was on the road with like Kendrick, and this is fucking 10 plus years ago. This is way before anything that he's doing now. It's a testament to what how long he's been at it. You know what I'm saying? I was seeing them kind of go at the same time, but I was able to get Louis to a point where I was essentially managing him. I just didn't want to say I was managing him. And then I ended up getting him a record deal, like not as like me, I walked him in, but he ended up signing to Playing Skills, which is a Grammy Award winning producer.
Shout out to Playing Skills, very familiar with them. Very familiar with Playing Skills. I mean, riding dirty.
Yeah, you
you know what I mean?
Freaks.
Oh, come on, Skrills.
Come on.
So, but you know, the work that me and Louis did together led to that. And at that point, I remember when we first met with Playing them, like, they were like, what are you? Who are you? Like, you know, like they were like, because ultimately I was his manager. I just wasn't saying I was his manager. I didn't accept it. And it took a while, bro. I'd say probably by 2015, 2016, that's whenever I really like truly embraced like, okay, this is who and what I need to do. And there's a lot of backstory to that, but that answers, I know it's a long-winded answer, but it's,
and I appreciate that in detail. But really quick, if you had to, because I only bring this up because Mazi knows we talk to people, bro. They shouldn't be an artist. They should be. If they like realize that, they would probably be the best manager out here. They would probably be the best promoter
for sure,
or the best whatever.
I probably had 155 people say that about me, all the time. You know?
So if you had to talk to them people and tell them something really quick, like what would you say to fast forward that like acceptance that took you, ultimately a good amount of time?
Yeah.
I think it's hard because like you still have to know that's what you want, right? Like for me, like I don't necessarily think I would, like if I could go back, if I could go back and manage so and so sooner, would have I done it? Honestly, no, I wouldn't have, because like truth be told, like I still needed to get it out of my system, like get it out of your system, right? Like it's kind of like bad analogy, but the first thing that comes to mind is like if you're about to get married, get that hoe shit out of your body. Like go hoe out, fucking do whatever you're gonna do, pimp as many chicks or do whatever the fuck you're gonna do. Get it out of your system because you're about to get married. And before you get married, and you're gonna fully commit to this. Get it out of your system. So
just don't be like Magic Johnson.
Facts. The more you know. Don't be
but really know that it's what you want, because I don't think there was like a radical time where I realized this is what I was gonna do. Like I think what truly happened was my mom passed away, and when my mom passed away, I didn't know what to do, and I was like, my mom passed away, super depressed. My daughter was born premature, and then by the time she got out the hospital, it was already like April of 2010, and I'm like, so this is where life restarts at? I had made a promise to myself and said, if I didn't make it by the age of 25, right? Don't ever do that, by the way. Like, if I didn't make it by the age of 25, I was going to go get a day job. So I stayed true to that. I tried to go get a day job, and nobody wanted to hire me. And then I started doing events again, and then I hit a lick, and then I'm having another kid. You know what I'm saying? Like within 3-4 months, I was like, fuck, now I gotta go get a job. And I jumped into the wireless world. I was in wireless for about 5 years, and I think being in the wireless world really, really showed me and taught me my importance in the field that I was in, because I worked my way up in that field. Like I wasn't an average employee. Like I was fucking extraordinary, and I was in upper management or whatever. I was in management, and like I learned a lot about coaching and management through that, believe it or not. And there's certain leadership qualities that you just need to know that you have and you don't have. Like you need to identify certain things. But being in that world, it really kind of taught me a lot, and it reminded me a lot of an interview that I saw on Kanye, where Kanye said that when he had went to like France or something, he went and like interned for like whatever designer it was that he was working for, and he said that he wanted to go to a space where he could start from the very bottom, and just for his own personal challenge, know that he can work himself all the way up. So he knows he has it in him, but also it made him appreciate his importance to the world that he came from as well. Like, man, like I'm really important to my field.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt that way, a lot. And bro, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like I've never shared this openly and said this out loud, but it was hard in the beginning. Going from having all these events to all of a sudden like you're working a day job and you're just like in front of like a computer, and then at that time you're seeing your counterparts like Snow get signed. She got signed to Atlantic in 2012. Louis gets signed, and it's like
and you're sitting there watching.
Yeah, like I'm watching, and I'm like, great for them, but I'm like, there's a part of me that felt left out. You know what I mean? Like I felt left out. I was never like any way angry towards it. I just felt left out, and I was just like, what's meant for them is meant for them. But like I know I belong in this. I'm not delusional.
For sure.
It just didn't happen then, you know what I'm saying? But it was hard. It was hard there in the beginning, and then I think towards the tail end of my journey of working a day job, because I've been self-employed since, it just gets to a point where all you're doing is daydreaming about your goals, your vision. I was still doing events, just wasn't doing them as frequent. All I was doing was daydreaming, and I just said, I can't live the rest of my life without trying to do what I really want to do. You know what I mean?
Hard.
And I said, boom, did it.
Facts.
Look at you now.
And that's when I accepted it. Truly accepted it. Whenever I said, I'm taking the shackles off, I'm not going to work for nobody, doesn't matter the money that they're giving me, my dream's just worth more. And I need to know that I can do it. And I know I can. Like I've because it wasn't like during that time frame I wasn't doing anything. Like I was still doing a lot, but like that last year was crazy, bro. Like I was working a day job, and that's when I was starting to build my company and book shows, and it was a wild trip, bro. And then I was able to start seeing the journey come to life.
Yeah.
But man, I think that's when I really I was like, all right, all you motherfuckers that said that I should have been a manager and I should have been a promoter, y'all win. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it's funny because all of them want to take credit. Like, I told you you were going to be the greatest. You know? Like,
That's what I'm going to do. As soon as some of these boys out here accept the fact, they're like, I told you.
Yeah, I told you.
No, but you know what, though? I've seen people that I've actually had those same conversations with. Like, man, you know what? You would be great at this. And some of them understand it and some of them kind of get it. But I don't think that to really fully comprehend it is to fully comprehend yourself too, because like you got to understand like leadership and mentorship and management in general, it requires so much. And it's easier for me because when I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a youth counselor before I got into music. Yeah, that's really that. I don't even want to say that was my first passion. That's what I want to do. My mom wanted me to be a parole officer.
Oh, wow.
So, like, yeah, we're talking about the troubled youth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I already had a knack for wanting to mentor people. And when you realize how demanding leadership and mentorship truly is, it really isn't meant for everybody. And if we're talking sports analogy, not everybody's meant to be the quarterback.
Word.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So, unless you're ready to be the quarterback,
y'all sit your ass on the bench. I'm just fucking.
stay in the locker room.
Stay in the locker room, bro. Don't be great.
Yeah,
right.
You know, you got to want it, bro. You got to want it.
You got to want
Absolutely,
it. I try to tell people that all the time, man. You got to want it, or you know what I mean. This ain't meant for you if that's the case.
Yeah. And going back to what I was saying, like it wasn't like when I saw those guys getting signed and having success, it wasn't like I was like depressed.
No, I totally get it. It's just because you were alongside of them along their journey, and then you see where they had went, and it was just like, bro, I was there.
Yeah, like I was in the same room as you. Like we had ideas thrown around about X, Y, Z, and I'm not referencing one person. I'm referencing multiple people. And when you see it go, it's like
wow,
damn. You know, I mean, true story. When I was working with Louis.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, this is a funny story. And it's more, Louis always plays around about it, but in 2012, you know, he was already starting the conversations with Playing Skills or whatever. And I got booked for House of Blues. As an artist, I got booked. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to bring Louis on stage because he had already built a really big buzz. Right. And we're going to do 2 or 3 songs. You know, he brings in, like, all right, I'm going to have a keyboardist. I'm going to have 2 backup singers. And we're going to do this big part of the song, and you know, I'm gonna do 2 songs on your set. Yeah. And one of the backup singers was Leon Bridges, and Leon Bridges is first time on stage ever. I'm talking about ever. Was on stage as a backup singer on my show. That is something that like Louis, you know, he went on to do some time. He's like, man, I was seeing him on TV winning fucking Grammys. Yeah. And you know, I can never take credit for his success, but like, I can only imagine, like, yo, that his first time on stage was in front of a couple hundred people at House of Blues. Like, it may have had a part in him wanting to go out and do it. But yeah, like, I mean, even seeing his success was kind of like, right. But I always knew, like, I'm like, bro, I have it in me. Like, there's no way around it. Like,
for sure,
like, I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm very confident. But it was, there was a lot of times there where it's like, fuck, you know?
Nah, for sure.
Obviously, Fort Worth, right?
Yeah.
Born and raised?
All day.
All right. So, San Antonio's bigger than y'all.
For sure.
Plain and simple.
Population-wise, it is.
Right. But then when y'all turn into DFW.
Y'all come as a tag team.
When y'all come as a tag team, it's a wrap for us.
Yeah, for sure.
But can you expound on, because I know you have a history of San Antonio artists that you've met, dealt with, and either in your dealings as an artist or as a promoter, but can you kind of differentiate or expound on like the local scene between either Fort Worth, DFW, and San Antonio,
I could sum it up faster than y'all could even think, bro. San Antonio is a big city with a small city mentality. Because the thing about San Antonio, right?
I'll say it again.
Say it again. Look into the camera.
Look into your camera?
Look at your camera. And then this one too. But your camera specifically.
San Antonio is a big city with a small city mentality. And I'm going to tell you why. In my opinion, for one, population-wise, there's more than enough people here to make a situation go, because I've put shows in the market. Even the Boogie show, like, even though I wasn't the one that put it on, I was, a direct result of, me bringing that to the guys. That show did really well, all things considered, but could have been a bigger situation. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of shows that could be a bigger situation, but I've always felt that the population of San Antonio consists of people that migrated from smaller cities around San Antonio. Like the people that reside here aren't people that were born and raised here. There's a lot of people that migrated from Laredo, from Del Rio, from like smaller cities. So that's where the small city mentality may come from, when they don't like truly understand the buying power in this market. And that's why I give a lot of props to people like Davies, who are really taking that leap to go, now we have it here. There's enough people here.
Yeah.
We're going to dump money into our economy, and we're going to try to find a way to make it happen here. And they are, you know what I mean? But there was a point in time where I know when, you know, Scoremore was doing a lot of the shows out here that Faye had expressed, or said it at least, that San Antonio was one of, like, there was times where San Antonio was outselling Houston and Austin and shit like that. So there's a lot of fucking potential here.
Absolutely.
And I think that trickles down to the artists though too, because I feel like there's so many artists here that have extraordinary talent. I was telling you guys off camera, like, I'm very familiar with the scene. You know, obviously Minus is one of the guys that I've been helping out a lot.
Shout out to Minus.
Shout out to Minus, man. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know, he got the record with Crooked. He got the record with Dizzy. He just did a record with Royce the 5'9". And then, you know, he just posted on his Instagram today that he was one of the finalists on the Tech 9 competition, and Tech 9's like shouting him out.
Oh, wow.
And like, I don't even know if like a lot of the talent here or the people that live here even know much about what he got going. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, granted, you can't put it on the public to understand what every artist is doing, because the artist has to still do their part.
See, and I've talked to him before, and not to put words in his mouth or nothing, but he's essentially likened your point, where he gets support basically everywhere he goes, but here it's almost little to none. You know
my bro's a little introverted, so I could speak to that. But I mean, look, I mean, there's so many other talents that you talk about, like on paper. You look at Roger Silva, you look at some of these guys. I mentioned Clef. You know, these guys that are just really extraordinarily talented. You know, at one point I was making a really, really strong run at trying to manage Angel Cintron. Like, I thought when I saw Angel, I was like, yo, she's fucking Ariana Grande Jr. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really saw something special in her, and I still do. Like, I still have a good relationship with her. But there's a lot of talent here. I mean, let's be honest. There's been artists here that have gone.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like, for whatever reason, it's like, oh, we haven't got there yet. But there's a lot of things, just like from the infrastructure standpoint. When you go to Dallas-Fort Worth, you know, like, you do have like some of the more established venues, and you have more of a cohesive history there, where like, I always tell people as a promoter, I've never ever had bounce checks in my life. I've never had a venue give me a bounce check in any city in the world other than San Antonio.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. And it happened twice at two different venues. One that isn't open anymore, and one that's still open. But there's a reason why you're seeing less and less of the national shows coming out here. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I was telling you guys, I was talking to Jordan Lucas's team, and you know, as of right now, San Antonio's on. They're talking about doing Aztec out here. You know, so I mean, it excites me to see San Antonio be taken into consideration. But when I have conversations with agencies, or I've had conversations, like, there's that stigma, like, we'd rather do Austin.
So it brings me back to that conversation. So there was an article a while back that came out on the mysa.com paper.
I think I know what you're talking
about San Antonio being one of the worst music cities.
Yeah, I think I know exactly
in the state of Texas.
Yeah.
Which, mind you, a lot of people made a fuss about, and like there were people on both sides. But yes, like,
right,
it's a culture thing though. I think it's a culture thing. Yeah. Because trust me, like, don't get it twisted. Like, I'm a Fort Worth boy to the day that I'm gone. Like, I'm super Fort Worth. But if I was to ever leave to another city, it would have been San Antonio, because I feel like there's so much opportunity here with people and talent.
I feel like it's untapped, man. As much talent as we have here, I think it's still untapped. It's an untapped market,
and there's still not really great promoters out here either. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll have one in a blue moon kind of chip in, but like a great, consistent promoter that's constantly bringing shows, and very, very, very minimal. And the ones that do exist are certainly not in the R&B hip hop space. So like, if we're talking that lane, wide open.
Yeah.
So whoever's watching that is a rapper right now that needs to hear that conversation about converting over, you have one of the largest cities in the U.S., top 10 population in the United States. You could probably do the facts. I don't know what.
I think we're 8 last
number
time I checked.
Number 8. You know what I'm saying? Like,
cracked the top 10.
Come on, dog.
And shout out, and real quick, again, they just kind of came onto my radar out of nowhere. But obviously they've been putting in work. But like Play and them boys.
That boy Play and
their company. I can't remember what it's called, but like they brought. I think
they did Pooh Shiesty.
Correct. And it was a big show. It was a big show. It was
big show. Shout out to Play.
Yeah, so like they're the ones that I've heard of that put on that quality of show, you know what I'm saying? That brings out people. And this is not a knock on anybody else, man, but like, I mean, bro, like if you can't, and I don't know if this is a big thing or not, bro, but you do graphics.
Yeah.
If I
know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying, bro? Like this just looks weird, bro. It looks weird. It's like you can't even get that right.
But you know what though? Like it's not just the presentation. It's also, truthfully, it's not just the promoters, it's also the venues. Like there's not enough real strong venues out here that like really cater to live music. I mean, you have the Rock Box, you have Paper Tiger, and you have Aztec as well. But like if you, I feel like there's this one room that's missing that we could plan in the city, and once that room exists, the floodgates open. You know what I'm saying? Because like whenever the Corova was here, I was able to put 800 people in that motherfucker wrapped around the line, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, around the block, you know what I'm saying?
that one spot, too, what was it, Alamo City Music Hall?
Yeah,
that was cool. Was cool.
It was cool, but you know what? I'll be honest with you. Like, it was, ideally, even though it was it was a dope, like, spot, that didn't, like, it was so kind of run down a little bit. Like, it was like, it didn't scream like prestige. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Like, if you have a little bit more prestige, something a little bit cleaner, I feel like there's just endless opportunities here. And people are more inclined because, there's a venue back at home that I'm doing my festival at called Wild Acre Live, and it's a relatively new spot. It's an industrial space, though.
Bro, I saw that. And I told you about it, Mazi.
It looks crazy whenever you get to the actual space, but when you pull in, it looks like you're going in, like it's like a destination location. Like, you see it right there.
We're looking at the screen
now,
right
see,
now.
that looks fire, right? And all that looks amazing. Oh, city view. But like when you're actually coming in, it's super industrial. It looks like you're just kind of like, am I at the right place? Am I at the right place? But
the stage is crazy.
But when you actually get there, it's so dope. And when you see it all filled out and the lights and everything, it's amazing. But I think we have to factor that into the consumer experience.
For sure.
Like house parking, how does it look? How does it feel? Because we're not just trying to attract the average hip hop goers. We also want to bring in other people that might just want to have a good time for the night. You know what I mean? So when you factor a lot of that in, like I don't think a lot of cities have that. And I think that's one thing about DFW music. We've always done a really good job of having that. You know what I'm saying? Those venues that have great reputation, great presentation, great all of that. And that's the thing about San Antonio, in my opinion. But I mean, in terms of talent, like bar none. Like
that I think Mazi and I have always agreed is that the talent's here.
It's here.
We've directly and indirectly worked with people just incredibly talented. But it's just like this. The bigger shows don't get brought down here because of XYZ.
XYZ, right? Exactly.
It's because there's not enough buying history and there's not enough, for lack of better words, there's not enough scoremores, that exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you have certain people that are come across, but I think you're always going to see them in bits and pieces. You're always going to see good shows come here. There's no doubt about it. It's too much of a big market to not have big shows here, but it's going to take someone that believes in the market and someone that believes in themselves.
Yes.
And that also believes in the talent that they're working with to try to break the cycle a little bit. You know what I mean? But
absolutely.
It's there. And and again, not to bring up Davies, but that's one thing me and Question talked about whenever I toured the facility. He's like, hey, where they have all that boxing space, like, we want to turn this into a concert hall, like.
And I was about to say, like, shout out to Davies, because that definitely is becoming an area, right?
Honestly,
that's the hub.
That might become the entertainment hub. And, you put that building somewhere in the middle, you know what I'm saying? Because right now it's kind of in that industrial area as well. Like, you put that same facility in the middle, or they just, hey, we're going to put something in the middle.
Yeah, and seeing how
game over.
Yeah, and seeing how Davies works, bro. That fuck around.
They just might do it
next week.
Yo, I was gonna say, Cameron may watch this and he'll be like, you know what? That's a good idea. Let's start it right now, and we'll give ourselves for the
30
next
days.
30, yeah, he'll tell us right. 30 days.
We're doing this in 30 days.
Exactly.
But that's what I think. So.
Nah, for sure,
for sure, man. That's what's up, man. Well, I definitely appreciate that insight, man.
And I'm not an expert by any means, but I would definitely think that based off of the stuff that I've done here and some of the stuff I've seen and how I see certain things move, I think that's a pretty accurate outside perspective. You know what I mean?
Man, I can't really disagree with much. But yeah, man, I definitely appreciate that insight. Mazi, I did want to ask both of y'all a question.
Yeah, what's going on?
So you mentioned wrestling.
Hell yeah.
You fuck with wrestling?
All day.
So I got to ask y'all a question. If y'all had to give me y'all's best era of wrestling, right? And not just the era, but your go-to guy of that era, who would that be? Mazi?
It's gonna sound safe, but the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
And this was year-wise, what was it?
This was like what, 99
through
2003, 4 maybe.
And your fighter?
Gotta go. Oh, you put me on the spot, dog. Because it's a toss-up. As much as I love The Rock, and The Rock is my favorite wrestler of all time, it's got to be Stone Cold or Shawn Michaels. Like,
okay.
You know what I mean? Like, especially with Shawn Michaels doing what he does, and then being a part of that the DX era.
And he's from San Antonio.
And he's from San Antonio. Gang. He's from the hometown. Gang. You know what I mean? Gang. Come on, man.
Slide that in there.
I think it's almost a no-brainer to go with Shawn Michaels. But then when you mention Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'll drop another bomb for him. Like, this man, fam, I was taking sodas because I couldn't drink beer because of my age. I'm taking Pepsis. You know what I'm saying? Wasting Pepsis, trying to drink them all, smashing them at the same time, and that brought nothing but bees around, and I got scared. But other than that, man, like, yeah, it's got to be like the impact that those two had.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And that's not including, Triple H and X-Pac, that whole DX crew in general. You know what I mean? Because that whole crew, I mean, go to the office. You know what I'm saying? The shit was crazy. But the Stone Cold, man, like, yeah, I feel like with those two, you can't go wrong.
For sure.
Smooth.
I can't say the same answer because you already said the Attitude Era, but I would probably go right before that. 93, 94, 95, 96. I'm going to say 90, that era. I'm going to go with Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon. Rest in peace, Scott Hall, man.
Scott Hall, rest in peace. Like prior to that, I'm a big Hulk Hogan guy. You know what I mean? I was a kid, so I believed in Hogan. I fuck with the Warrior. Fuck with Macho Man, but it was Razor Ramon and Undertaker that really changed the game for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's definitely my my go-to era because that was the era that I was kind of developing my thought process, and I didn't realize, man, like I'm so invested into pro wrestling, the psychology of it, and the storytelling aspect of it.
Yeah.
I've always cited Vince McMahon as my biggest influence in terms of business and in promotion.
Why not?
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good person to look up to.
Fucking God, dog.
Straight up.
Changed the model. He's the reason there's a pay-per-view model that even existed. I'm talking about live entertainment. He changed the game. I don't realize at times how much and how influential he really is to what I do and the way that I approach business even now with not just my events, right? Like how I brand events. And I watched an interview recently on him. I'm like, fuck, like I'm just like, it's naturally programmed into me of years of watching and studying him and his product.
Yeah.
That I just move like him. Like I think when I announced the first headliner for my event, I dropped the flyer. I'm thinking like, oh, this is fucking fire. Look at the color schemes. I'm like doing this blue and green and orange. And I thought it was like a really, really dope scheme. And then I saw the SummerSlam poster the next day. I'm like, yeah, like I just literally ripped off the same color scheme. But I've actually been told that. Like I've actually been told like, hey, you have a real like WWE-esque style of promoting. And I respect the presentation aspect of the product. And what's crazy about it is they always say the most successful pro wrestlers like The Rock and Stone Cold are really themselves with the volume turned all the way up. And I feel that same thing could be said for like artists, and the way they present themselves through content and TikTok and Instagram. Like you just got to be yourself with the volume turned all the way up. So If you're Mexican, be all the way fucking Mexican.
Shout out Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
Oh,
Latino
man.
Heat, so that's a little something, you know.
Nah, for sure. That's what's up, man. And so, speaking with Vega McMahon right now.
That's a new one, right?
That's the new one. Listen, man, fresh off WrestleMania, we seen you out there chopping it up with Kurt Angle.
Facts, bro.
Yeah, how was that? Meeting the Olympic champ.
You know, I got a chance to meet Kurt and kick it with Kurt. I interviewed Rob Van Dam. I did some shit with R-Truth.
Yeah.
Rikishi. And I actually pulled up to WrestleMania. You know, I got to flex. You know,
Listen. I was just about to say, man. Listen. I ain't the type to pocket. I ain't type to pocket watch, but you know what I mean.
I put up because MVP, who wrestles, he's actually on WWE.
Right. Shout out to MVP.
Yo, I actually had him come to Davies' last event.
So I heard, because question. We'll talk about that off air.
We'll talk about that off air. Yeah. But I had MVP pull up, but MVP actually was like, "Yo, man, I got 2 tickets, man. You want to go?" And I didn't know that he was gonna actually have me go with him to WrestleMania. So I thought it was really dope to experience that. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
But being around Kurt Angle was dope, man. I mean, I can't say nothing else. I mean, it was just like it was a little surreal. You know what I mean? Just to have a conversation with him and ride in the whip and take him to where he needed to go to and come back. And we really just had an extensive conversation. But, you know, I have respect for these guys. And at this point, like, it's going to take a lot for me to feel like starstruck, I guess you would say. Like, I don't think that exists in me. Like, I'm still a fan at heart.
Yeah.
But, like, I wasn't like, oh, my gosh, you're fucking Kurt Angle. You know what I mean? It was just like, yo, man. Like, and he was telling me about his knees because he was about to get his knees replaced. And, like, I saw his legs all fucked up. I'm like, damn, dog. Like,
they take a beating, man.
Yeah, man. Those guys are something else. But, you know, it was cool, man. It was really cool to be able to kick it with him, man, and just have that opportunity to just kind of live a childhood dream. You know,
for sure.
Like I always tell people, man, the one thing about what I do now that I love is that I grew up heavy into music. That's my passion. Pro wrestling and pro boxing, and of course, like the NBA. You know, like sports. I'm a sports fan, but those are the 3 things that like I love the most.
Yeah. And
so to be able to cross those worlds, bro, it's like. I can't even explain it, dog. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's hard, man.
It's really cool, man.
And honestly, bro, it's really inspiring, man. Because me and Mazi to this day have convos of getting to that point. You know what I'm saying? Of being able to, you know, because we're making our way
for sure.
You know, but like it's still at the point where you gotta end meet and all that shit, and 9 to 5, all that.
Right.
You gotta grind, man. You know what I mean?
Have to. You know what I mean?
Like it's like this, bro. Like I'm very grateful to be to where I'm at. You know, even though it might not be the furthest, but it's you know, I did it with minimal money.
Yeah.
I did it with a whole lot of dedication, a lot of heart, a lot of will. I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? I always say, man, you know what? You could teach and develop skill sets. You can't teach the people that want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And there's no excuse for me to have as much as I have, whether it's content related or even promotion related or, you know, any of that stuff, considering I had no money. Like I'm independent. Even now I'm independent. Like I'm in, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm independent. Everything I do is just me. Of course, I'm, you know, credit First Time Media for producing the show, but
yeah,
it's not like I have like this multi-million-dollar conglomerate behind me, like helping me. Like it's literally me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a machine behind me. I am the machine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I just took time to study, bro, and I took time to reach out and realize the importance of building relationships and you know, being able to like reach out to people. Hey guys, like check me out. You know, this and the third. Like I spent all of yesterday. You know, I did a 1-sheet for XB Valentine, right? And
Shout out to XB.
Shout out to XB.
Shout out to XB, man. She just got booked for Dallas Pride, which is a really big deal to her. You know, she's been wanting to play Pride Fest for some time, and it's a big one. Dallas is one of the bigger ones. So I was like, you know what? Let me go look online and see what the top, you know, U.S. Pride festivals are. And I pulled it up, and it was like, fuck, every city, the boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And they had like a ranking.
Yeah.
I went on every single one of those. I got all their contacts and I emailed them, every one of them individually. Like, here, XB Valentine, here, XB Valentine, here, XB Valentine. I had maybe 2 responses, but the point that I'm making is that people often complain about what they don't have and they don't do nothing about it. You focus on the problem or you focus on the solution. 2005, I got nominated. The Fort Worth Weekly Awards, which they didn't nominate me for Best Rap Artist, and they had nominated a counterpart of mine, and I was with him when he found out he got nominated, and he was all excited, like, dude, I got nominated for an award, and I was like, yeah, congratulations. But in my mind, I was like, he's not doing as much as I'm doing. Like, I didn't understand it, and I wasn't hating, but I didn't complain. What I did is I went to the website, and I got every single email that was on that website, and all I did was email them and introduce myself and say, hey, I saw you nominated so-and-so. I just want to let you know who I am, what I'm doing. These are my numbers. Nice to meet you. And nobody replied. Wow. And I never got a reply, so I was like, well, worth a shot. Yeah. 1 year later, I get nominated and I win. So I say that to say the same way that, I did the whole thing with XB going on there and emailing everybody. There's an art to have an initiative, right? And you have to take initiative to make things happen. But people don't realize that it's a gift to even have initiative. You know what I'm saying? Like so if you're out there and you're making this happen right now, it's a big deal because you're taking initiative to make it happen. Right. Most people just watch everybody else do it. So you can either be a go-getter or you can watch everybody else be a go-getter. Which one is it? You know what I'm saying? Drop the bomb.
Jeez. Be a go-getter.
Listen.
Or watch everybody get it.
Facts though.
Wordplay.
No, but it's the truth though, bro.
Fact,
it's like, I just shared the story because I was sending out the emails. And mind you, never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine myself sending out a bunch of emails to, gay pride festivals. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't part of my career trajectory. You know what I'm saying? Like,
gotcha.
But it really reminded me of like the early days of like, dude,
out there getting it.
I remember how this feels. Yeah. Kind of brought me back to that place, and I love going back to that place, dog. You know what I mean? I love going back to that Eye of the Tiger shit. You know what I mean? Like, watching the young lions fucking train. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of going back, man, really quick, let's spend the next few minutes talking Centro Popular.
Hey.
So, real quick backstory. If I'm not mistaken, what I read initially when you announced this was that your mom ran this. Or give me the kind of Cliff Notes backstory.
I mean, I'll start by saying, my mom meant absolutely everything to me.
Absolutely.
So she passed away in 2009, and
God bless.
A little bit of I guess what I would say the backstory to it would be that growing up, she owned an independent record shop from about 84, 85, from the time I was born to about the time I was 11 or 12 years old, 90, 96, 97. And she ran in the heart of Fort Worth, which is the Stockyards, North Fort Worth. My mother was a Mexican immigrant, so at that time it was very uncommon for a woman to own an independent business, let alone for over 10 years. But she owned an independent record shop in the sense that she sold music and she rented out movies like a Blockbuster. The name of the shop was called CENTRO POPULAR. And so last year, at the beginning of last year, I started thinking of ideas of, like wanting to put together like a festival brand. And I just, was wrapping my head around it. And I had a few other names. I had a few people suggest names to me. But one day I just had a dream, and I had a dream that I was in the video store because I spent a lot of time in that record shop.
Right.
My mom was an entrepreneur as much as I didn't realize until I got older. Like, man, I got my entrepreneurship from my father. But in all actuality, it was my mother that owned the business. My dad always worked a regular job. Respect to him and everything, but she was the one out there really creating that. So what better way to like honor her? Because I've struggled so long because I realized after all that time I never got over her death. And, I think there was a part of me that as time progressed and as I saw my kids grow up and I saw my kids be born, there was a certain level of comfort, but it never went away. And I always wanted to honor her, and I have never really found a way to honor her. I've tried other things. I said, you know what? This will be a unique way of honoring her because she spent so many years building this business. And, to me, it has some historical significance considering all the things I mentioned. So I want to do this event, and I'm going to call it Centro Popular. And I did Centro Popular, and I did it last year, that first annual one. And, I didn't do it as big, or I didn't, go all in because we were coming out of the pandemic and I didn't want to overcommit.
Right.
But we still did it, a successful event. We drew over 2,000 attendees. We had King Little G, Frankie J, Baby Bash, Twist, a handful of artists. And then this year, I said, you know what? I was kind of debating, like, do I do it again? Because I want to make it an annual thing. You know, now I put some expectations on my shoulders now. Like, now I got to deliver.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing it again. I decided it, and I said, you know what? If I'm gonna go all in. I multiplied the budget times 4, and we're doing the event on August 6th, which just so happens to be her birthday.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, I'm pretty sure. You know, my mom was a God-fearing woman.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure she's in heaven, like, really gonna book a.
That's my baby.
No, you say that's my baby. No, I think she'll be like, you really gonna book a group called 3-6 Mafia?
Mijo, what's wrong with you, Mijo?
3-6, yeah. You know what's so crazy though is like with 3-6 Mafia and Chamillionaire, like, and we'll get to that in a sec, but like last year was all Latin. You know, Twisted was the only non-Latin artist. This year, like, I wanted to focus on doing more of a festival brand. And start growing it. You know, it's still in its infancy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still in its infancy. And, you know, part of my initiative is to still shed light on Latin talent, which is why we have Cap G, which is why we have Flawless Real Talk, which is why we have GT Garza. And I intend to continue to do that for as long as I can. But the show, the concept of it was like, you know what? I want to shift it and make it more of a minority-driven festival versus just a Latin festival, because I already did the Latin festival. I did it last year, and I wanted to continue it, but you talk about pivoting. You never want to be predictable in the business, not just in music, but in general. Like, you never want to be predictable. You never want people to see or think that you know what you're going to do next, because then it gets old and then people lose, you know, they lose interest in what you're doing.
Right.
So I started seeing a lot of like similar style of events with the Latin stuff. And I said, you know what? I think it's time to pivot. I'm going to multiply my budget times 4. I'm going to book 3-6 Mafia, you know, fresh off of Versus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they had never played Fort Worth in specific, so I thought it was really cool to bring them out. And then Chamillionaire, like, you know, anybody that knows me knows how much he influenced my career, how much he meant to me. The last time he did a solo show was in 2015. And the thing about Cam, he doesn't do shows.
Right.
That's just the truth. That's not, you know, he's at a point in his career where he doesn't have to do shows. And
I don't think he has to do much.
No, he ain't got to do much.
I was very surprised that he accepted the offer, because initially I was going to go with Currency. You know, I was going to be 3-6 in Currency, right? But, yeah, I know, man. But like,
listen, man, I'll tell you right now, that show would have been full of cloud smoke.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
But you know what, though? Like, when the opportunity got presented to work with Cam, I just couldn't pass it up. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is meaningful to me.
Yeah.
And, like, even if it's not meaningful to the public as much, which I would hope to believe that fans out there of Chamillionaire that haven't seen him perform in a while, like, you know, this is their opportunity to be like, hey, man, I don't know if he's going to perform again anytime soon. Like, I can't call it. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard rumors, but, you know, like, I've been accused by people of saying that I'm using that to sell tickets, so I'm not going to say it out loud anymore. I'm going to let you make the judgment. How far in between are his performances now? Right. You know what I mean? Like, you know, so come out, man, you know, and like I said, August 6th, that's what it's all about. But yeah, I mean, that's the concept of it. You know, it's also, you know, an accumulation of years of building the Premier Live brand.
Yeah.
Years of me doing all these years of touring and doing shows and basically applying it and going, you know what? I've done the routing, the tours. I've gone across the state, maybe not as much as other promotional groups, but I've done it to where, you know, I hit the states. I mean, we just did West Side Boogie at the top of the year. You know what I mean? Like, I did the whole run. I was in every city with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a grind. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. I love it. But there's also a part of me, as I'm getting older, I want to reduce the quantity and just improve the quality and go, okay, you know what? Maybe it's not meant for me to do 30, 40, 50, 60 shows a year. Maybe it's just meant for me to do 5, 6 solid shows that I can really fucking hold my hat on. And I for the record, I don't think it'll ever be that little amount.
I got you.
But the idea is that, and I think this is the first step to really going there. And
for sure,
I really want people to come out and check it out. I mean, like I said, the tickets have done well, you know, and part of the reason why I'm here today with you guys is to spread awareness and let people know that the event is coming, and hopefully people come out. I hope to see you guys there. I got you guys. You know,
listen,
I got you guys.
I was going to say, listen, man. Hey, matter of fact, question, Cam, listen, I'm going to talk to y'all real quick, man. If we could use the Sprinter If we could catch the Davies Sprinter for that day.
Listen, man.
I told them boys to give me one of those trailer stages that they have. You know they have.
Oh yeah.
Bring that bad boy out here, man.
Bro, the last time we were out there, they were showing us the what is it, the energy drink one?
Oh yeah, the Rockstar Studio.
Rockstar Studio,
I saw
bro.
that shit.
Yeah,
that shit
man, ridiculous.
Well, you know, Bun B too. Also, like, he also had mentioned possibly having the Trill Burgers out there. You know what I mean?
Listen. So I saw you talking to him, and he was talking about the Trill Burgers.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's a thing, Skrills, we're pulling up.
Absolutely, come
We're
on.
pulling up. Hey,
And what do you get on your burger again?
listen,
Cheese and mustard.
Wrong.
Cheese and mustard.
Uncle Bun. Listen, if y'all could make this especially for me, just beef and bacon, just plain.
Yo, man, you know what? Shout out to Bun B. You know.
Hopefully you can make that happen.
Yeah, shout out to Bun B. You know, he's actually, you know, we did the interview. I'm sure you guys saw that.
Yes.
Shit, like, went viral everywhere, right?
Right.
But man, it's just to know that he's really taking that world serious, like, I respect.
And he did his thing at Coachella. I saw the responses. Yeah, he ain't playing. The responses he's been doing. I saw Conway munching on the burger too. He was like, bro.
I mean, his name is his name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And I'm sure he, just like you're saying, everything smooth as far as you do everything with purpose. You know, you do everything.
You have to.
You have to. You know what I'm saying? So you know, just I imagine he does that too. Like, he fucks with burgers. So much so that, you know what I mean? Like, hey, I really fuck with this. It's not some gimmick shit like someone came to him and was like, you know what, I think you should sell burgers.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nah, I think, like you said, he's a fan. He was a fan of burger, and it's just like, you know, why not do it myself and to call it Trill Burgers? How Texas can you get?
That's thug.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's like, yo, Mazi, just go to Trill Burgers. That's hard.
That's hard.
What?
Absolutely. I'm going every time. I know he was working on the brick and mortar too. So, like, you know,
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, I think he's gonna do some really great things.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you guys actually saw, you know, because I've been really putting emphasis on TikTok the last week and a half. I shared a video of with
the kid,
the special needs kid,
man,
and I forgot that I had that clip because I keep in contact with Q's mom, and I had messaged her about going to the event, and I was like, hey, y'all want to come out? You know, y'all should come out. And they always go to every Bun event. Like, people don't know that they go to every Bun event, but that video was 2017, and I shared it, and I've been getting all these comments. I'm like, man, people must think that me and Bun are like best friends. But it was really cool to Bun's a great guy, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Bun B, man.
Absolutely, man.
Legend.
But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to August 6th, man. Hopefully everybody
Us
comes
too,
out,
man. Us
Central
too. As soon
Popular,
as I told Mazi, as soon as I think I even posted it, I was like, as soon as I saw that, I tagged the squad, the little circle we got, and it's like, yo, look at we going north.
Road trip.
Right, man, say less. I got y'all guys. Y'all ain't got to worry about nothing. Just buy me a Trill Burger, dog.
Best believe we got you.
That.
We got you, man, for sure.
Absolutely, man. I think. What do you think, Mazi? I think we got.
I think we covered everything, man.
We got a lot, man.
We got a lot.
Solid,
Thank you for pulling up and dropping all the gems for everybody, man.
I'll say this, you know, I mean, I appreciate you guys. You know, one thing that we didn't get an opportunity to really cover, and there's always part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5,
for sure.
right? Was XB Valentine. You know, obviously you guys interviewed her.
Yes,
right?
of
course. And I started managing XB last year, you know, and XB,
damn, you only been rocking with for a year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So before we leave, I want to share this about her because I do want to shed some light on her and what she's doing. Very interesting story. So as you guys know or don't know, obviously I do events, and I've been doing events for so long.
Yeah.
And I had been doing so many tour routes, and I work with so many artists. I mean, you guys can look it up. I don't even feel like name dropping at this point because I get tired saying the same names, right? but I had came off some really big events, you know, doing some big artists. And, you know, 2019, I started kind of like really going through this like really weird transition.
Okay.
And around that time, I was pursuing Angel, and it's funny how like that didn't really pan out the way that I wanted it to pan out. I happened to meet XB Valentine in the summer. I did a smaller event, and she got booked for it, and I met her. I just remember the first time I had met her.
Yeah.
She was so happy, but she looks completely different. You know, like at the time, she's probably about 80 pounds heavier.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
which I've seen her, like I follow her on TikTok.
Yeah, her weight loss transformation is.
She has like that, you know, which is very inspirational. You know,
yeah,
very inspirational.
I wish people knew that though, because not enough people understand. Like, this is someone that really went through a change, and it's just a really crazy thing. But I remember seeing her and meeting her. And everybody was telling me that she was good. but I didn't really watch her perform. I wasn't really interested. My mind wasn't there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I started following her after that. And, you know, like, as I followed her career, I always noticed, like, I was annoyed by her aesthetic. Like, I don't know why. I was like, she was too dark. Everything was dark. And I was like, why is she so dark? Like, she's like an emo kid, right? Like, and I didn't understand it. Because, you know, at this point, maybe it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
But as I got to see her journey, I remember she posted a video. You know how she posted those videos in front of the mics?
Yeah. Right.
She did one of those and I complimented it. And she actually told me that after I complimented it, she made it more of an effort to post more of those.
Okay.
And she posted those. And, dude, I mean, I never would have thought that would have been the artist that I eventually managed. You know, like, I had seen some stuff probably the middle of the next year. Yeah. And at this time, you start seeing the transformation happen. And I think she had somebody close to her pass away. And I just felt something in my heart told me, like, one or two things are going to happen in a situation when you lose the loved one, especially someone that's as close to the person that was to her. You're either going to go harder or you're potentially going to fold and quit. And I extended the arm and I was like, hey, you know, I want to work with you. Come out, do this. And then slowly and gradually it just happened. And I officially signed her in March of last year. And all those years of everybody asking me to be a manager, you know, she's the chosen one. She's the one that she's the first one up.
I naturally assumed you had others.
No, she's the only one.
She's the only one.
She's the only one that, I mean, you know, I guess, you know, in a sense, you could say that I've managed, you know, Cap G, you know, like I've done a lot of management work for him, but like I'm not officially his manager in any way. You know, I've done a lot of different management work for a lot of different artists.
But in a traditional sense,
no, she's the only artist she's the only artist that I have on paper. And
nice.
The deciding factor, I remember exactly, because I was kind of like, do I do it? Don't I do it? You know, and we had already had meetings. It was like a process to get there.
Yeah.
But I remember I was in the drive-thru at Whataburger, and I was with my, at the time.
I'm sorry, I'm just saying a lot of things happen at the Whataburger drive-thru, man. A lot of great decisions.
Shout out to the hat right there.
Yeah, man. The Whataburger hat, you know what I mean?
That shit hard. Hey, but my 11-year-old daughter, which now she's 12, I remember I was playing some of her music, and I don't even know if XB really knows the story, but my daughter had actually was like, I was like, hey, you know, I'm thinking about signing this girl, and I played the song, and then my daughter puts the volume down, and my daughter might not even remember this, but she's like she's never told me anything about music at all. It's just not her thing, and she's like, you know, I think you should sign her. I said, why? She goes, because you might be the one to change her life. You know what I'm saying? And she might go further because of you. And when she told me that, I felt that was my mom talking to me or somebody.
Gotcha.
Which it kind of was.
Yeah.
Probably was. I named her after my mom.
There you go.
Yeah, so I was like, all right. So we just went in, dude, and you know, she's done a lot of great things in the first year of working. And I hope that she just continues to do what she has to do to work at it, because I think she's going to go as far as she wants to go. And I'm always going to support her and be there to help her and give her the resources and put her in spaces and studios. And you guys have been extremely supportive of her, you know, every time y'all see her online, and you know, and I appreciate you guys for doing that, because for me it's important, because I don't always know how other people view it.
Yeah.
And at times I think that there's people that view me coming in and putting all these relationships and resources behind her as like I'm enabling. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like the artist isn't earning it, but it's like, bro, that's ridiculous. Like, you know, like I want to operate like a label.
Yeah.
And I want to treat her as an artist that's signed to me, and providing resources part of that.
Absolutely.
Make her assistant player, she shines.
Yes.
So I appreciate you guys' support on her, and I encourage anybody and everyone that's listening to go check her out, man. She's
absolutely,
she's really good, man.
Listen, man, I say all the time, man, like XB, when Skrill showed me XB, I was blown away immediately. And she's definitely one of the dope talents to come out of the state. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think in terms of like Latin, you know, like not to narrow it down, but you know, she's Latin, she's LGBT, and she's a female, and there's not really someone that fits all those molds that really can do all those things.
And
then do it at a high, do it at a high level, you know.
Yeah.
Like she was in the studio with Royce, and you know, Royce and her were rocking. I think Royce is about to get on one of her records, and you know, that's not something that I take lightly either, you know.
Right. Because Royce just don't do anything with anybody, you know.
Certainly, you got to think about it. Put this into context. Like, if you really want to be technical, she did a record with Bone Thugs and Harmony. Bone Thugs and Harmony has never done a record as a group with a Mexican female artist. You know what I'm saying? Wow. You know, if you really want to put some historical perspective into what she's been able to do, and a lot of that, it's important to me, but, you know, I just think right now it's like, you know, the experiences that I've gone through, I'll be able to kind of like lend to her and be like, hey, you know, she still has to walk her journey. Yeah. But, you know, I'll be able to like really shed light on, hey, you know what, these are things that you can avoid by doing this and really focus. But, you know, she's a great kid. She listens. She's all about, you know, really figuring it out. And I think she will. She's going to, you know, we'll see. But I mean, it would mean the world to me to be able to see her get signed and do the national artist thing, you know what I mean? Because it'll make all you guys look like geniuses as well.
For sure. I mean, she checks every box, man. She really does.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. You know, and like I said, I don't always see it from everybody else's perspective. Like, people tell me that, and I'm like, are y'all just telling me that because I fuck with her? Like, are y'all telling me that because y'all really mean it? Like, no. And they're like, no. Like, nah. She's dope.
I ain't gonna front, dog. When I reached out to you, remember originally I reached out to Smooth to get her on. Yeah. I did it on some like
fan shit, right?
Just shot in the dark.
Yeah,
you know?
shot in the dark, and he was like, "Let's do it." I was like, "Bro."
And I saw y'all shit real quick. I was like, "Man, we gotta do it." And you know, like I said, you know, it's so cool because the journey of the artist, right?
Right.
The motions that artists go through, they don't always see themselves the way the other people see them.
Yeah.
I don't think she sees herself the way that everybody else is seeing her. Potentially, you know, going to that next point. And not to say that she doesn't believe in herself, she absolutely does. But I can say that wholeheartedly. I'm like, you'll be surprised how much people think that you got.
But when that time comes,
I am
out of here.
Boy,
gone.
You know what, man? I'll conclude with this. Like, I think the best way to put her into perspective for me, for those that may have not heard her yet, I play around a lot. I say if you put Post Malone, like Jhené Aiko, and like I don't know, whoever, like you put them in a blender, you get like her sound. You know what I mean? Like, you know, she has like a real unique sound. I mean, you could pepper in a little bit of whoever else on top of that, but pepper some Russ on top of that, and that's her sound. But she's unique in the sense that there's not a lot of artists that do that style of music. And, you know, like being compared to any of those artists, in my opinion, sonically or in general, and I'm not overselling her as a promoter, I'm telling you, but I really feel like there's a high ceiling for that. For sure. And that could go a lot further than the rapping acrobatics and the technicality of being a superb MC.
Right.
You know, like, so it's about creating songs that catch on, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I appreciate you guys for always supporting her, and I appreciate you guys.
Always, man, always.
And I know y'all guys are going to keep on growing it, so I'm here for it.
Sure, appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Before you go to, man, if you can just answer this question for me.
Yeah, Donatello.
Right up here.
I'm so glad we got that poster.
I'm so glad, yeah, for sure. Yo, XB, if you see this, you know what I mean? You got your boy Donnie up here, you know what I mean?
Donatello's my favorite too, dog.
Oh, yeah?
Almost my favorite color, and because of the Lakers and because of Donatello.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the Lakers. But yeah, man, if you had to summarize your career to this point, man, how would you do that?
I think the turtle that won the race, I guess, you know what I mean? Like the people that didn't see me coming, you know, like I've always been a firm believer that you leave the way you come in, right? And if you come in fast, you leave fast. And we've seen a lot of those guys over the years. I'm sure you guys have as well. Yeah. That they just shoot up and then they just get out quick because they didn't have a lot of sweat equity in the game.
Right.
And quite frankly, they didn't really want it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you work hard at something for so long, you value it more. You know what I'm saying? And it means more to you. And, you know, when my daughter was born, the very first time I held her, I had to wait a week because she was born premature. Wow. And she was 3 pounds, you know, 3 pounds and 11 ounces. And I remember, like, I was afraid to hold her. I told the nurse, like, I don't know, I'm afraid to hold her. And the nurse tells me something that I use towards everything. She said, the fact that you're afraid to drop her will only ensure that you will never drop her because she means that much to you. And it's the same thing with success. It's the same thing with your career. It's the same thing with your run. So, you know, it might take you a while to get there, but when you're there, you're going to value it a lot more. And I feel like nobody expected me at all, like considering that I wasn't on paper the most skilled, the most talented. You know, like it's almost like some Tim Tebow shit, right? Yeah. But I just wanted it more. And I continue to want it more. And it shows in my approach and how I do it. Like I'm high volume because this is all I think of, bro. This is what I do. Like, I don't know how to be any other way. Like, I wake up and I think the next move, the next move, the next move, the next move, the next move. And I'm always forecasting, what can I do next to build my brand, to build my situation, to help XB Valentine, to help Premiere Live TV, to help Premiere Live, to help whoever I'm affiliated with and associated with. But I think to sum up my career up to this point, that is probably one of the most accurate ways to word it, because nobody where I'm from thought I'd be the one that they call the Godfather of Fort Worth, because that's what the newspaper called me, not me.
Nah, talk your shit. Talk.
Like, that's what they call me. The newspaper had like an article they called me the Godfather. Nobody would have ever anticipated I'd be the one that they said that about. You know what I mean? But
come on, man.
Listen, man.
Word to knit.
You know what I mean?
What is it, Mazi?
Marathon continues, man.
Absolutely, man. Slow and steady wins the race.
Absolutely.
Always, man. You know, like I said, the want will take you so far, you know what I mean? But you just have to really want it.
For sure.
Yeah. Man, so before we got here, Smooth, you want to let them know where they can find you at, whether you know, all your socials, your podcast, and everything else you got going on.
Smoothvega across all platforms, but YouTube is youtube.com/Premiere Live TV. Name of the show is called Nothing Beats Experience. We got some really cool interviews on there, man. Y'all check them out. There's a lot of wealth of game there, you know what I'm saying? And you know, proud of that product, and hopefully people gravitate towards it, give it a chance, and fuck with it.
And one more time, the show. Let them know about the show, man.
So real quick, Smoothvega is one word, just for the record. So if I see the graphics spaced out, just know one word.
One word.
August 6th, it's going down Fort Worth, Wild Acre Live, Central Popular, 3-6 Mafia, Chamillionaire. We have Cab G, Flawless Real Talk as well. GT Guards, A Little Flip, Tum Tum. And, we got a few guys that are from the area that aren't listed on the site right now. Juice Leroy, the best show in town. My boy Damon Rod. Here's some sharpshooters from the area that I really wanted to give a look to, and these guys are going to be, I think, people that people should really be exposed to.
For sure.
But I'm really excited about the show. Like I said, it's 3-6 Mafia's first time in the market, you know what I'm saying? Like playing as a group.
Sure.
And coming off that versus shit, like, that's always gonna, the price goes up, right? But
for sure.
I'm excited, man. Like I've been doing events for a long time. Like you mentioned Nip, I did his last tour, Victory Lab, and there's always significance in all these events that I do, and I have these special moments like, oh, that's a special moment, that's a special moment, that's a special moment. But this one's special for me, not only because it's the second one, bearing the name Central Popular, but obviously it's on my mom's birthday. And, I'm going to treat it like it's the biggest event yet, even though, it's TBD, right? But
right.
I encourage everybody to come out. I don't care if you're from San Antonio or wherever. We had a lot of people come from everywhere last year, so.
Yeah.
Shit, you may see us out there, you know what I'm saying?
I got y'all, man, so y'all let me know.
Nah, for sure, man. Squirrels, anything else you got?
That's it, man. I'm excited to go to Fort Worth.
Yeah, man.
I've only driven by. I've stayed in Dallas. I've never stayed in Fort Worth, but I've only driven by. But yeah, man, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. But definitely been to Dallas. Got some kinfolk up there. What up? I also stayed in Grapevine to go hang out at Great Wolf Lodge with the fam. That was a lot of fun. But definitely looking forward to pull up to Fort Worth, man, and check out 3-6 and hopefully maybe tussle with some people in the mosh pit or something, man, you know what I'm saying?
Dog. Tear the club up.
Tear the club up.
Yeah.
Most definitely, man.
Tell Davies to give y'all a sprinter, dog.
Hey.
You heard him. Give us a sprinter, man. Let us run it.
Come on, man. We haven't asked for much.
Nah, listen, man, and we'll bring it back with the tank full.
Absolutely.
We got y'all.
No gas prices.
Most definitely, man. But shoot, man. Appreciate each and every one of y'all tuning in. Smoothvega, thank you for pulling up. You know what I mean? Definitely appreciate you following through.
Man, this is fire, bro. Our show's fire as fuck,
Thank
bro.
you, man.
That's love. Appreciate it.
To see some more guests come on here, man. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I did that shit.
Word, man. Most damn, man.
You heard it from the Godfather.
From the Godfather of Fort Worth. You know what I mean?
Man,
Take a good look at him.
Let's get it.
You know what I mean? Your boy Mazi. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Mazi's World. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. Also, shout out to 9 Clouds Up for the sponsor, Mazi's World Tea, new colorway. Y'all see what's going on. Promo code Mazi22 at checkout for a 10% off your entire purchase. Shout out to Davies Entertainment, Artificial, Hi-Fi, the whole 9. Y'all know the vibes. See y'all next week. Peace.
Maserati.
So focused, I just need some meaning to my name. Plus, I'm cheating with these codes. If you thinking it's a game, that's real talk. Man, this ain't no game to me. This ain't no game to me. This ain't no game.